Welcome. This is Big Moter Small Blade Podcast. Obviously, we have a few special guests here today. I'm Buddy. That's Seth over there. And then we have the garage guys on. We have Chase and Dale. So awesome to have you guys on here today. We talk racing, talk garage guys, talk everything, man. How y'all doing?
Dude, thanks for having us, man. We're doing great.
Pretty good, man. I'm just real jealous of you guys' diecast collections you got behind us. Behind you guys. It's a pretty big flex, and I'm bothered by it because that's what I need behind me instead of a curtain.
Look, man,
I'm very impressed.
This took
movies
10
and
plus
musicians.
years.
You guys one upped us big time on that one with the wheel, Seth's wheel wall and Buddy's tire desk that we got to see. But you listening or watching can't see it because he's in the process of recording.
No, absolutely not.
It's there,
a
though.
Secret only for guests. Let's hop right into it. So I want to know how you guys got into racing, like as kids. You know, what bit the bug for you guys?
I'm gonna let Dale take this one off because he's probably got way more of the sentimental story of the racing, and I'll go through mine. But I know that Dale's been he's been doing this since the crawling in the diapers. So
since I was born, I didn't have a choice really. I've been watching NASCAR probably since the day I got back to the house, whether I knew it or not. But cognitively, 3 or 4 years old, I remember sitting on the carpet playing with my cars, watching races because my dad was a huge NASCAR fan. Dad was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan. And of course, 2001 comes around and Dale Earnhardt died, and I became obsessed with Jeff Gordon's flame paint scheme that he had just debuted at the beginning of 2001. And my dad was kind of like, damn it, man. Like, of course, because my dad was an Earnhardt fan at the time. He hated Jeff Gordon. Anybody who was a big Earnhardt fan hated Jeff Gordon or Dale Jarrett because of how competitive they were with Earnhardt in the 90s. So, and I'm sure you guys know that. But I became a big Jeff Gordon fan. And then I was also a big Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, basically since I was crawling on carpet. So, and I've never wavered. I've been there since the beginning. So I've been watching every single race if I can since I think I've seen almost every single cup race, or at least a live part of every single cup race since 2004. So I've my parents used to check me out of school whenever a race would get postponed to Monday. I would tell my mom I was sick and she would always come get me. So there's some dedication there as a child and even now.
I used to do that for the duels, fake sick for the duels because they'd run during the day for school.
Yeah. I would the same thing that Thursday before. I would try really hard to get checked out. So
there really was nothing like being out of school on one of those days and just sitting at your house in the middle of the day when you knew you should have been learning something, but you were watching that instead.
Yeah.
On what Speed Channel and stuff. That was me back in the Gap. By the way, Dale, I forgot I never showed you this. That's that car.
Oh yeah. Is that what kind of diecast is that? I have this one right here.
That's that car. I was about to say I'll trade you for the Biff.
You can probably keep that one because I got this one. This one's pretty nice.
Cheers, bro.
That looks like this one is Nextel.
I donated this. I donated that one to my boy. I found that thrift shop in one day, and my boy, where we share the studio, he's a big Jeff Gordon guy. So I was like, here, I got you this. I'll get into mine. I mean, mine's definitely. I'm not. I guess you can't. I can't really say that I've watched every year of my life, but it's a very interesting thing for me. So growing up, NASCAR was kind of a thing that we did when I was a kid. I think the first race we went to was 98 Winston 500. It was either the Winston or the Die Hard. I can't no, it was the Winston. May have been the Die Hard. I don't know. I know Dale Jarrett won. It was 98. Dale might know. He's a historian.
Was it the fall race?
Dude, I was 5, bro. It was tough to say. The sun was out, bro. I remember that much, and I remember seeing Jeff Gordon, the Rainbow Warrior, and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
With your skin scorching off because it was July in Alabama.
Probably, dude. It was I just remember my mom, she had the Jeff Gordon shirt, the badass ones. It was the mural tees, and all my dad's friends were Dale Senior fans, obviously. So growing up for me, when we went to Talladega, that was like my first experience ever, like being around cars or anything. And that was right when it was starting to blow up, you know, and it was getting really, really big, getting close to the 2000s. And after we went to that, man, I was just kind of hooked. And I would come home every time I would go to the store, like had to have a new toy, had to have a new die cast. I had the metal cars you would put on the track and you press the button and they'd whip around. It was like Senior and Jeff Gordon. I'd play with like, I was just so big into just like the paint schemes and just, so it was a little bit over my head being young, but I just thought it was cool as hell. I mean, his car's going fast. Kids love it, you know? And so from then on out, like, my dad, he worked a lot. Like my mom and my dad were like barely home like my whole life. I pretty much lived with my grandmother and my aunt or anybody else. So they were always working different shifts. So it was never like on a Sunday, you know, we'd be there and like my dad would be, why he was usually like sleeping in the daytime from like coming off a night shift or something. So it was never really something that I would like share, like watch with him. But I knew like every year we were going to Dega. So I would probably around like 99, 2000, like I would watch the Daytona 500. Like that was like the big one, obviously, that he would watch, and I would watch that with him. But yeah, it was never, I was the only child, so I didn't really have any other siblings in the house that would want to do that kind of stuff. So it was just, I was really big into like, you know, movies and just pop culture and whatever in general. And then when I got into baseball, dude, and that was like my love, like my whole life. So we would go probably to Talladega once a year. So my whole life, I thought just NASCAR was Talladega. Like I thought that it was like that everywhere, that every NASCAR race. So my perception of NASCAR was very different growing up than what most people's would be. So it was just wild party, crazy shit happening everywhere and just wild wrecks and whatnot. So teenage years come around and my dad decides he's making it a guy's trip, which you can't really blame him. It's Talladega. So, and it was the closest track to us. So I stopped going for a few years. And then 2017, went back for the first time since I was like a kid. And it was just like instantly fell in love with it. And this kind of saw like nothing really had changed. I was like, man, but I got to see a whole new, you know, side of, you know, everything that was happening. So from then on out, man, it's just like when I got home after that in 2017, I was watching every weekend. I was keeping up with it. Started playing DFS and making some money off of it and just trying to figure out, you know, like who's good, who's not good, where's things standing at. And so really, I guess you would say that like me being like a serious, like tuned in NASCAR fan started for me in 2017. So not too long ago, but that's my story. And I quickly found out that, NASCAR is not Talladega every weekend. So found that out.
Thank God it's not. Yeah. What brought you back? Like what got you back in 2017?
Oh, dude. So, I mean, when we went to Talladega, it was me and one of my buddies from college. The story is crazy, actually, because like, so me and my buddy were in a fraternity and we were sitting there with my dad at his camper or whatever, chilling out. And the next thing I know, I'm like, there's this group of dudes that come through this bush, man. And they're all wearing jorts, boots, sideburns, chopped up goatees. And they're a bunch of guys from my fraternity that I was in from Mississippi State. So this is like 2017. These dudes are coming up and like, they're all like talking about it and they're drunk as shit. And they're like, what's up? We found out we were from the same fraternity. We did our little dab ups or whatever. And they're like, you guys should come with us. We're going across the street. And I had never been to that campground that's across the street from Dega. Like they call it, my dad always called it the wild side, but it's Geico free camping. It really is a wild side though. But that's dude, we walked over there, man. And it was just like, you know, the trailers, the stripper poles, the, you know, beads everywhere. Like it was just a whole vibe, man. And like I saw a couple of people like wearing like Rusty Wallace. Like there was a chick wearing like a Rusty Wallace cutoff shirt. And like it was like had like the high-waisted shorts on. And I just remember looking at that and I was just like, that is just a whole style. Like that is just like a whole just like look right there. And there was a couple other people that were rocking that too. And I'm just like, dude, I just want to wear shit like that all the time. Like that's just like a whole different vibe. So that and then just being at the race, man, and I think Brad K won the year we were there. It was Junior's last race, so that was another big reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I mean, it just kind of brought me back into like being a kid again, you know, and like remembering playing with all the cars, collecting them all, having the cool paint schemes. I always like the different. I didn't really care if the driver was good or not. I had a lot of late speed cars, Cartoon Network cars back in the Gap, you know. So I was big on that. But yeah, it's just the vibe of it, man. It's just there's a whole culture around it, and people don't get to see that unless they get to the track.
Hell yeah. It's Talladega's interesting. I remember seeing my first stripper pole, and that was real weird because I was walking around in campgrounds with my mom.
Yeah, that's a different one for sure.
Yeah, that was the fall of 15, you know, when Junior won.
Young enough that you didn't have to pretend you didn't think that was a fire pole or something by that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just old enough, just barely old enough. All right, so you guys obviously are Garage Guy Fantasy Sports. How did that all start? Did you guys start that? Did you guys get involved with it? How did that all come together?
So I started Garage Guys in 2017. Very funny. That is around the same time. So I had started Garage Guys about a month before I went to Talladega in 2017. It was strictly a fantasy football podcast. So it was me and a buddy of mine. Literally the name of the Garage Guys came from the fact that back when I used to drink, me and him would go drink beer in his garage and watch football like all day. So we played fantasy football, or just big in that. So we had like a whole little crew, and I just would listen to Sirius XM all the time and remember going to work every day. I was back when I was an insurance agent, and I was just like, I want to do this for a living, man. Like, I just want to like talk on the radio about fantasy sports. So we started that up, and probably after I went to Talladega is when I told him, I was like, dude, I want to talk about like some like NASCAR. Like they have NASCAR DFS, fantasy NASCAR. So we kind of like teetered the line between NFL and NASCAR. And then in the beginning, we would talk about all sports like hockey and basketball. It was just, I didn't really have any direction or vision. It was just fun. And it was like something that I would do, and we would record. So that kind of ramped up, man, and I got possessed and I quit my job and started working a bunch of odd jobs just to try to like keep that afloat. And it became more important than me going to like a normal 9 to 5, because it just like set my soul on fire. So but yeah, we fully transitioned to NASCAR, I would say starting around probably 2020, dude. It was like 2019. We were still talking about a little bit of football, but that was when I had started working for Rotoballer and started writing NASCAR DFS articles. And that's when I was like, okay, if I'm writing about this over here, I definitely want to do that. So the Garage Guys, as it's known today, I would say is probably only like 2 years old. So with the pure NASCAR content, but yeah, it's been a journey, man. I've met some people along the way. Dale actually just came on board in the beginning of 2021. So that was this past year. Me and Dale met each other for the first time in January of last year. So
yeah, and how did that work? Like, you guys, where did you guys meet? How did you get involved in this? How did you be like, I want that guy?
Dale stole my heart with his stuff. You go ahead and tell him about how you kind of like got up into it all.
So my path here is interesting as well. I always wanted to get involved with NASCAR and auto racing in some way, forever. I always wanted to. Went to college at Mississippi State University. I always tried to apply for just business related internships at racetracks, and with NASCAR, with IndyCar, and just could never get anything. I mean, all my applications, just nothing. So I kind of gave up on it, getting into the business side. Graduated, got a job, and then in 2020, or I started betting on NASCAR in 2019. Started getting acclimated to betting, and that was a big thing, especially when Junior and Gordon had both retired. I still watch a sport every single weekend, but when you lose your driver, you lose a little bit of passion. You kind of search for something that kind of gets the excitement. Some excitement back at least. And at that time it was a weird time. So starting to bet on NASCAR, and like the first sports bet I ever did was on Kevin Harvick to win at Michigan, and I think in 2019, and he won. And I was like super stoked about that. But regarding Garage Guys, I have a family friend back home in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, that would always invite me on he had a radio show that he did that he posted on Facebook, or it was more of a live stream, but he just covered high school sports in the local area. And when he had an extra spot, he would text me and say, hey, you want to just come talk NASCAR? Just tell us what's happening in NASCAR. So I always would do that. This one guy saw me there. This random guy comes up to me after a show and is like, hey, do you want to cover our local dirt track and write articles about it? So I was like, yeah, sure. Hattiesburg Speedway. It's a dirt track in Hattiesburg. It's kind of a piece of shit. But I was like stoked just to do anything related to auto racing in general. So I wrote like 3 articles for this publication, and then COVID hit and everything shut down. And my job had stopped. I was an auditor, so I was traveling all the time. And when COVID hit, all I was doing was just Zoom calls. And it was really, really frustrating. I was at home constantly. So I started just making videos, just random NASCAR videos on Twitter, mainly betting related, because I had been really successful on picking winners for races. And I was like, why not? I'm just going to do it. And just from doing that, just kind of expanding my Twitter profile, because at the time it was nothing else. I was just posting stuff on Twitter with a small following. Chase had seen me, and we ended up talking, and I came on the Garage Guys podcast a couple times in late 2020. And then we had kind of planned to go to the Daytona 500 in 2021, and we did. So the first time we met was at my house in February of 2021, because everybody came here and we piled up and went to Daytona at like 2 a.m. on a Thursday night, I believe.
No sleep.
Thursday night. So that's how we met. It hadn't even been a year, which is crazy, as much time as we spent together. So it's been an interesting path to get to where we are now, for sure.
It's nuts, because it seems like you guys have been friends for freaking ever. I assume
That's
you
what
guys
everybody
have been friends
says.
Yeah.
It's weird
yeah.
like that, man. When you meet like-minded people, man, it's just like it just clicks. I don't know. Like I've realized that a lot now in life. Like you just you get to a point to where your vibe attracts your tribe. That's the best way I can put it. We'll leave it at that.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. I like that. Seth, are you part of my tribe?
We tribing. I love y'all. You and Seth, I mean, getting to hang out with you and Seth some this year was great, man. Dude, Bristol, man, when you had the Tennessee Vols overall get up on, bro, like that was a whole nother element right there. I was like, what is happening here?
You tell Seth, I'll tell Seth, or I told Seth, this is at Darlington. First time I met you guys, we were running around to get ice, because that's what I'm always doing. I'm running around to get ice. Don't matter if it's 40 degrees outside, I'm running around to get ice.
Side note, we went to Daytona for the road course race, and our hotel was like 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the road. So we just like, all right, fuck it. We're going to walk and pick up our beer and all that shit at the gas station on the way. And
50.
Maybe 50. And the sun hasn't even gone down yet. And Buddy's like, all right, we got to get ice. I'm like, buddy, we have these shitty clear coolers. It's going to melt and get all over our asses. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Guess what? Shit melted, got all over our asses. Yeah,
all over your ass.
All over my ass.
I'll carry the cooler. Man. I'm like, if you're mad about it, never mind.
No.
This is an argument.
I was about to make the joke earlier that Buddy and I only met at Atlanta in July, and that's clearly not true.
No, not at all.
I was going to make it.
But anyway.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So we're walking around. I'm trying to find ice with my buddy Jonathan, and that's when Dale was like, I think it was Dale was like, "Yeah, you want a shotgun a beer with us? By the way, I like your Fu Manchu or whatever, something like that." Because I was rocking this.
Yeah, dude, I totally remember that. Yeah,
terrible fucking Fu Manchu, man. I was like, hell yeah, and so we did that. You guys did the thing, and I was like, these guys are cool as shit. Like, figure out who these guys are, and that's when found you guys on Instagram, and that's kind of where everything, where we guys kind of met.
Buddy, was that like the promo video that we were shooting where like?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Dude, I remember like when you'd followed, like the more times we had met down the line, I'm like, where did we meet, man? Like I couldn't remember because you looked so different. And then like,
all the time.
Yeah, just ever-changing face hair. Just
That was
Yeah,
a long time ago, man. It's been
yeah.
like 8 months or 7 months from that was in
Holy
May.
shit, yeah.
I just know eventually I started hearing buddies say, yeah, I saw the garage guys earlier every race we went to for like 3 months. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, where are they? And how do you
like we only saw you at like 2 or 3. Like you should have just like came up every time. Shouldn't have.
Yeah. Well, I saw you guys.
I don't remember.
We saw you guys at Bristol, and then I saw Dale at Indy, and then you guys came by and grabbed. Thought you were trying to grab my nipple at Martinsville. I was like,
I
what
do
the hell?
that. I do that from time to time. I do that to
I was like-
everybody, dude. Like I'll do
Yeah.
that to drivers sometimes. It was weird at first, but like now they're just kind of like used to it, so they know what to
Oh,
expect.
it's Chase, man. Oh my god. But yeah, no, you guys saw you guys. I was like, man, these guys are cool. And this is kind of like where I was like, I need to get some more retro drip. I need to, I like you guys' vibe, like you said.
I love
Vibe
it.
is like your tribe. And that kind of brings me to my next thing. This is a fun thing. I think it's the coolest thing ever. You guys always say, we're bringing Winston back. And maybe it's big. It's not as big as I think it is. I think it's awesome. Yeah, exactly. See, what does NASCAR need to do? What do you guys see from talking to drivers, being inside the garage? What does NASCAR need to do to get back to like the late 90s, early 2000s era where, NASCAR was at its height and, you had people on Fox making big ass signs saying boogity, 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 and people are rowdy as hell with number 8s painted on their chest and
Yeah,
I'm shit.
I'm gonna do a kind of a quick explanation of like what that means, and I know Dale can probably dive in a little bit deeper to it, but like for me, like I remember I read a tweet. We weren't originally the first people that said bring Winston. There was somebody that said they tweeted Winston is coming back or something like that. And I was like, bringing Winston back. I was like, it kind of just started because like we rock all the old shit, like we wear all the old clothes, but then it kind of turned into something different. Because I mean, honestly, like growing up, I remember NASCAR being more rowdier, but then again, I went to Talladega every year, so it's
definitely used to be more
after
rowdy.
going to a lot of tracks this year, I've been to more races than I've ever been to in my life in 2021. So really getting to like see how people are. It's NASCAR is doing so much right now that is captivating the audience, and that is going to, we might not have it exactly the way it was in the 90s, but it's going to be the same concept, because what it mainly revolves around is the fact that we are a number one sport in America. That's what bringing Winston back means. We are, we have a fan base where people are loyal to it. We already have that kind of, but more people coming out, more people camping, packing out the tracks, getting like a sea of people in those stands, like, and driver personality and kind of not being afraid to speak your mind and do things like that. So we got a couple of guys like that, but mainly just people really embodying everything that NASCAR was in the 90s and having that same passion and drive worldwide for it, instead of just this kind of niche put to the side sport that it kind of like became for a little while. But NASCAR is doing everything right now in the right way with the package, the racing. You got to have a good product on the track. I mean, so I mean, I'm here to say that like I feel like Winston's back. I mean, I don't know. I feel it. What about you, Dale?
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. The biggest thing here is that, everybody talks about the 90s and the 2000s, and I understand, but my dog, I'm dog sitting these 2 dogs. Lizzie, Lila, stop it. Go lay down. Go.
They're typing. What are they writing?
It's early, so they're fucking wound up right now. But I think one of the big points here is the personalities have changed, and it's 2022 now. We don't have Dale Earnhardt, we don't have Jeff Gordon, we don't have Tony Stewart. We have the drivers we have right now, and a lot of people say there's a personality issue, and to an extent there is, but we just have to get past that. we don't have, like I said, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, all those guys. So I think an important thing with where we are now and the way consumers act and operate, we need to make NASCAR races more so just big events. Perfect example. I got two good examples. Number one, what the Clash is doing with Ice Cube performing at like a halftime thing, that is massive. That's how you make an event out of a NASCAR race. Which obviously the racing is important. I think the 670 horsepower package is a massive, massive deal for the future of the sport. I hated the 550s. I don't know many people that like the 550. You diminish some driver talent there. So pure natural racing is important. And we do have to live with playoffs and stages hanging around, which I'm okay with, because I think that helps that extra consumer or more consumers hop into the sport, because you are creating more entertainment and drama, even though it is, some would say, manufactured. And my second example regarding making races a more of an event, a massive event, is the Indy 500. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Indy 500, but did I see you at the road course race, or was that at the Indy 500?
Saw me at the road course. Seth goes to the Indy 500 every year, and it's an on-running joke that one day I'll make it to the Indy 500. I always say I'm going and then don't go.
But he is tentatively scheduled to go this year. We'll see if that changes. I don't trust him.
We'll see. Everybody's got experience. And once you go once, you're going to want to go there every year instead of the 600, which I haven't been to the 600 before, because I've been going to Indy since 2011. Or 2011, I believe. So it's
600's overrated.
I've been going to the 600 since like 04, 05.
We need a jet. We need to do a jet. We need like Dale was telling me about
we've been talking about this.
Okay, so I may know somebody who knows Martin Truex Jr.'s pilot. So like maybe one of these days, if he does the double, we'll have to try and jump in on that one.
No, see, we could figure this out. You guys have some connections. We have access to plane and airport.
Well, maybe
potentially.
Not like
so we can make this happen.
Right? That's the ticket.
We can do it.
Plane, bro.
We can do it.
Fly with our arms. I would do it if I could, but I can't.
I mean, we could probably fly with our arms. We might miss the first stage, but we could probably do it.
Or we whole race.
No.
Yeah. Get some rocket shoes, Jimmy Neutron jetpacks, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Some moon shoes.
Moon shoes, baby.
Yeah, the things used to jump. They used to.
I mean, I do know people with planes. I just don't know how long it'll take to get from Indianapolis to Concord.
We're gonna figure that one out. But like what Dale's talking about though, you're talking about the Indy 500. What was it that you were saying?
So, and Chase hadn't got to experience this yet. He came his first Indy last year when it was they still had COVID measures in place where we couldn't have concerts or a full carb day, which carb day is one of my favorite days of the year. It's like the Friday before the race where they do all these festivities, concerts, the pit race. Why can't I think? The pit contest, the pit road contest. But the Indy 500 makes it a full event where Friday you have a rock concert, Saturday you have a country concert, Sunday morning leading all the way through the day while the race is happening, you have an EDM concert. They've had a rapper there before. So that is how you bring in outsiders into NASCAR. And just the fact that you get them there and they could have a glimpse of the racing action, even if they're there just to go to the fucking snake pit on race day. Maybe there'll be an intermission. They'll look up at a screen and see the cars or see a wreck or something. And then they're going to be like, damn, that's cool. And then right there, you have somebody potentially hooked to come back. So NASCAR needs to make it not only about the racing, but the entire atmosphere. And even in the 90s, even when you had these personalities like Earnhardt and Gordon that helped run the sport, the atmosphere was just absolutely electric, especially in the 2000s when the sport really boomed from like 2003 up until 2006, 2007. The atmosphere at races was just insane. And I think one of the biggest ways to get that back is making them event centered. And then obviously with what we do, what we specialize in, we think sports betting is a massive contributor to that as well, because you see what's happened with the NFL with fantasy football. Fantasy football, when it blew up in the mid late 2000s into the teens, completely revolutionized football. And now that's turned fantasy football people into degenerate fucking sports bettors in 2019, 2020, 2021. I think the same thing can happen with NASCAR and auto racing entirely. So those are kind of my two biggest points there. And I think that could be a very successful formula to getting these stands packed again, to get campgrounds packed again. And we'll just have to see. I agree with Chase. I think NASCAR is doing a lot of good things right now to try to make that kind of stuff happen.
Do you think, like, you guys think, for one, I look back at old races and I look at like the coverage of the sport, like the Fox and NBC coverage, and it seems like they were a lot more involved and invested in the sport because it was on the uptrend. Do you think we need more? Do you think we're getting those people, more people, younger people, through like YouTube and, other platforms, and like, because that's the way the world's going right now with media and all. Do you think the fact that we're getting people like you guys, people like, some of the people who are doing stuff on YouTube, younger people getting involved in the sport that are kind of relating to that audience, that's going to bring more eyes that aren't already there to the sport, if that makes sense? That was kind of a tangent.
Yeah, no, you're good. What was J. Cole? I'm on a tangent, not how I play.
Yeah. Hometown
no,
boy.
Lila.
It's
Stop
so
it.
true though, man. I was gonna say wait, hold on, Dale, you okay? All right,
He's
They're
under
just
attack.
running into shit while they're playing. They're gonna like knock over a desk.
I wanted to just say, like, with the coverage the way it used to be, I think one thing, and I mean this may not be something a lot of people think about. Maybe it's just something that I've looked into, but there's so much data on human beings now, like just with phones out since like 2008, since the iPhone came out. And you got to think that over time, when you have that much data, these large companies, they're buying that and they're seeing what makes people tick, what makes things move. And, people are kind of structuring things in that way now, like this tech world that we're living in. But you have so many opportunities with like YouTube and Twitter and all the social media platforms for just anybody to get up off the couch, get a microphone and a video camera and talk about something and use the algorithms that are on there for people to search. And so I think that's the good thing about it, is that there is an outlet for everyone to speak their mind and say what they need to say and show their passion for what they love. And it allows other people that have those same passions to, kind of come around and find it. The one thing about the old production is that the people would spend a lot of money on television, and nowadays I think that with the technology showing so much of what, we did all this, but it didn't really resort to any financial gain or things like that. Those kind of things definitely have to come into play, I would feel like. I don't know 100%, but I feel like, the more money you're going to save, that's the route you're going to take. I mean, I feel like that's anybody in life, but it definitely makes it tough for people that are passionate about it to, like, that want to get paid and do these kind of things for a living, because the markets can get so saturated over time, which is why it's interesting with NASCAR, because there's really only a few, outlets for auto racing and people that are talking about auto racing that have kind of like, squeezed into that area online. And I think that we're definitely, they definitely, NASCAR fans definitely, like, especially nostalgic ones, they like that stuff from the old days. So it's like, I think that we're at a point now to where people are realizing, people in power of certain things are realizing, like, okay, well, that's the direction we need to go then, because that's what these kids grew up with. That's what they watched. That's what the adult generation now of fans wants to see again. And so I think that we're in for a big treat to kind of get another wave of that coming through, just based off of how things were when we were growing up. And then this, we're kind of setting the tone for generations to come, whoever is out here doing these kind of things, like you guys and us and so many others that are out there doing this. Like we get to set that tone and kind of change that course and direction of what a NASCAR fan likes and what entertains them and what makes them tick. So I definitely think we can get back to that. And I think that it's just an incredible time that we live in to where we are able to do that.
So you're telling me the powers that be watch this podcast and we're like, we need big motors and small blades back.
Probably.
That's the
Could
yeah.
happen.
I'm pretty sure that's what just happened. So,
I can't disagree, dude. I mean, you call it big motor, small blade. You've got a very handsome stick figure in the in the photo. So I mean, like, handsome stick guy, cool name.
we'll get him a bow tie
670
too.
horsepower.
Yeah.
We'll let our
I don't
model
know.
know that he's attractive.
Yeah, we'll let him know. We appreciate that. He has some low self-esteem sometimes, but he
I love his
let him know.
facelessness. He
Gotta
has
get
no
his confidence
face.
up.
Circle.
Yeah, poker face.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. Now, speaking of 670 and small blades, next gen, you guys were at the Daytona test. And then we've all seen, the testing that's been hours and hours of testing that's been going on. What do you guys think about next gen car for like a Daytona package, and then like for everywhere else? What are you guys seeing? What are you guys hearing from the garage? What do you guys like about it? What do you not like about it? What's going on?
The biggest thing for me is that at the mile and a half of the intermediates, we've gone a higher horsepower, lower downforce. Obviously, I think for a large consensus of people, that is the biggest takeaway and the biggest change, the biggest positive change on specifically the aero package and with this car. When it comes to Daytona and Talladega, you can throw Atlanta in with there too. I think they're going to have the same package at Atlanta, turning Atlanta into a mini restrictor plate track, which I absolutely hate, but I'm sure it'll be exciting. Restrictor plate tracks is to be seen. I don't think it will be. We got to see some of the testing. The cars seem pretty stable in the draft. There seems to be a little more space, a little more separation from the cars. And there also seems to be potential for two cars to link up and kind of take off. I don't want to say full tandem from, 2009 through 2011, 2012, but there could be a good mix of pack racing and some tandem racing with this. But I think it's all positive. I think the car looks great. There's been pretty good feedback from the drivers, specifically with the 670, when they were all pushing for it after testing at Charlotte. Short tracks, I think, will still be real similar to how they were last year. I know we're cutting down on some horsepower there, but the biggest thing isn't the horsepower. It really is the blade and the downforce that's applied to the race car. And that's what I've heard. I don't build fucking race cars, but that's what I have heard a lot of people in the industry say is the less downforce you have, the horsepower you can have 600 horsepower, you can have 550 horsepower, you can have 670 horsepower. You're still going to have good racing. So the biggest comment to me is what Brad Keselowski said after testing the 670 at Charlotte. He said, this car reminds him of a 2005 Cup car. Which, if that's true, I mean, that would be incredible, because 2005 was an amazing year of racing, multiple photo finishes, very competitive. So if we get anything like what we saw in 2005 with this car and this aero package, that is a massive win. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a success. I think NASCAR's worked really, really hard on this. They've had an extra year because of the COVID, all the COVID shit that happened. They've had an extra year to prep this car into 2022. So I think I'm very optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic, and I think it could seal the fate of NASCAR. This next decade with this car is very, very important for the future of the sport. So I'm very excited about it.
Gen 7. I'm gonna add, like, that's all great stuff. Like, everybody's bitching about the number placement. I think it looks great. I don't have a problem. Just want to start off by saying that. One thing about the car, like when we were there watching them, they're very loud. They're a lot louder than we had last year. I'll say that much. So one thing Dale and I were discussing there was just like, man, like when they pack up and we're here, like what is that gonna be like? Like how are we, I mean, we were there probably for about like an hour and we just got used to it, but there was a lot of separation. A couple of things that I guess like what I'm excited to like watch is there's a lot of little technical things inside the car that are obviously different from Gen 6. Dale Jr. went and ran Larson's car. He was in the 5 doing some testing out there, and he had some mixed things to say about it. You could kind of tell he wasn't trying to be like, dismissive or anything. He was basically was being optimistic while stating that this is something that we should watch out for. I think it had to do with like the rack and pinion steering, and he was talking about the actual like how sensitive the steering is compared to some of these older cars. It was a little bit easier to move around. He said so a lot of these guys with muscle memory, and I mean that's why the tests are important, obviously, but if you have a lot of muscle memory or you don't get a lot of time in one of these cars and you're going to some of these tracks, there could be some critical moments, depending on how it goes. And he's talking about a lot of 3 wide that we might see. Cause I mean, it's just he was saying you kind of just are there. And that's just with the 550 with, what was it? Was that a 10-inch spoiler they had on that car, Dale?
Yeah.
I think it was like 35 inches, 40, 50, 60, 70 inches. I don't know.
Oh, wait, yeah, was it 7? I think it was 7.
It might have been 7.
It was a 7.
Yeah, I think it was 7.
Whatever it was.
They
It was
were-
a giant ass baller.
Yeah.
They had the choice to run the 6 too, but they ran the 7, and after they did pack racing, NASCAR was like, we're not even going to try the 6. We're just going to run the 7, which super speedways doesn't matter. I don't care if the spoiler's tall at super speedways, but
yeah.
Anyway,
so I mean, it's Daytona and Talladega, man. I mean, like those are the races you're going to expect to see crashes. You're going to expect to see moves. So I mean, that was another just side of it. I think Ryan Blaney was talking a little bit about it, and they were asking what Dale thought, and he was like, "Well, he's going to be on his couch on Sunday watching it. We'll be out here driving." So
yeah, and Dale,
I agree with him. I mean, they some of these you're not going to be able to please everybody. You're not going to be able to please a lot of these older generation guys that are driving these older cars. So it's as long as these guys that are out there driving now, they know what they're doing. They're getting the proper amount of time in there, and they can get really used to how these things move around, and they can handle them correctly. Do they have paddle shifters now? I believe
No, sequential.
So
Gearbox.
the shifting method's different.
Yeah.
That's another thing he talked about was the muscle memory with the shifting.
Yeah.
So a lot of those little things like that, and I mean, I definitely can see where like you get into like a really intense situation and you're used to doing one thing one way, it's it can throw you off a little bit. So I guess that's the one thing that I guess we should look out for, that we could watch out for. And you're never really going to know that until you get the interview afterwards or something happened. And hell, some of these guys might not even talk about it, but it's definitely something to think about, I guess, on my end. That's what I'll be kind of looking at. But overall, dude, it's a sexy ass car. Pardon my French.
It's a gorgeous race car.
Someone at some race is going to accidentally downshift when they meant to shift up, and they're going to blow up.
I was thinking about that too, actually,
Yeah.
but these guys are world-class drivers. Junior is very old school, so it doesn't bother me or surprise me, or I don't think anything crazy about his comments, because he's old school, and he's bitched about everything. I feel like I love Junior, but he hated the COT, which a lot of guys did hate the COT, but he was a big critic of the COT, and the COT was excellent racing, and I feel like people get kind of short-sighted on drivers complaining on how it drove. But no, I don't make big on those comments. These guys are world-class drivers. They'll figure it out. They'll have the practice sessions coming back are very, very are just huge to get more track time for these guys before races, even though it's not as much practice time as a lot of the fans wanted. It's still something, and it will give everybody more time and preparation for the weekend. So I'm not super worried about anything just yet. So
something you talked about earlier. I'm looking forward to like Martinsville now, because you were talking about how they think that short tracks will be probably the same or whatever, but they don't wheel hop anymore going in these corners. The braking system's been upgraded a lot. So I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to affect Martinsville. Guys are just going to send it all the time now. Should be pretty fun to watch. Denny Hamlin's probably really excited about that.
Yeah. If it's anything close to what we saw this past year in Martinsville, man, that was a hell of a race, man.
Yeah.
Hell of a race.
Dale, you ever been to I know that was your first time, Chase. Had you ever been to Martinsville, Dale?
Yeah, I was there. That was my first time as well.
Okay, that was your first time as well. Okay.
The
What
hot
did you
dog
guys
is
think of
not
Martinsville?
Incredible. It was a great race, man. I mean, it was just literally like the crowd was all the way in it. And then you get to see something as iconic. I mean, the last time we had saw something that was like that impactful was Xfinity race in Bristol, Dinger and Cindric's finish, So, I mean, like, with Bowman and Hamlin, I mean, that was just another one of those moments to the year, just a super highlight of 2021. So it was great to see that in person, and then just the crowd itself, just how packed the stands are and how involved the fans are with the race there. It's a whole different world, man. But, yeah, you got to watch those from the stands. Like, I learned this year, like, I love being in the pits. Bristol, Martinsville, you have to be in the stands. Like, there's no debate.
Yeah. Dale, what did you think of Martinsville?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah. All three races were insane. So the truck race was poor Todd Gilliland, man. He he led almost every lap and then gets wrecked, and Zane Smith punched his ticket.
He had nothing.
Saturday night was awesome too, with Gragson and Hemrick. That was a great finish. That was lit, and that was a good moment when Gragson shotgunned the beer from whoever gave him. I think it was a Bush apple or some shit like that. But that was an awesome race. And then obviously Sunday was, just the cherry on top. So Martinsville is just one of those places, man, where it's just so exciting. And I think these cars will replicate some of the things we saw last year. And like what you said about no wheel hopping, these cars, when they were testing I think Boyer and Junior both tested them on short tracks. Current drivers had this comment that they have so much mechanical grip. And I think that ties into what Seth was saying about how these guys are just going to send it because the car responds so much better that everyone's going to be more confident that they'll be able to make these corners and be able to brake without having issues. So it could be crazier, man. I don't know, but regardless, I feel like it doesn't matter what kind of car you bring there, because obviously we saw 3 different cars come to Martinsville with truck, Xfinity, and Cup, and just murder and just have an awesome show. So I feel like Martinsville, man, it doesn't matter what kind of car you bring, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that all concerned me initially about road courses, because previously the most interesting thing about a NASCAR race on a road course was the fact that they weren't supposed to be on a road course, but now they pretty much are. But I think what we were talking about earlier, they're going to send it more, and I think the drivers are just going to get really confident in it. It's going to be more entertaining, but we'll have to see about that one. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, and we can speculate all we want, but I mean, no one has any idea what's going to happen. I mean, regarding road courses, they did get to test at the Roval. There were a lot of spins, which there were a lot of spins on the Oval, Charlotte too. So yeah, there's no telling what's going to happen. I just think at the end of the day, like, these guys are going to figure it out. They'll figure it out. It's going to be, and it'll still be exciting and fun to watch and very competitive.
I'm just excited. It seems like it's going to be more in the driver's hands.
Yeah,
that's the goal, man. I mean, ideally, if short tracks and road courses stay similar to how they were in 2021 and 2020, then everything will be fine, because the intermediates are going to be twice as good. Because I hated the 550 more than anything, dude.
Yeah. Let us know. Like pour out your heart, man. Like, it's terrible, ain't it?
It was just.
It was the worst thing ever.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
We're gonna make him write a letter.
I might
He's gonna write a letter about it.
Yeah.
When they announced, like, on Bob Pockrass or Adam Stern or whoever announced that they were moving to the 670, I might like take that screenshot and like frame it in my next house. That was like such a big moment. No one expected they were gonna do it, but I'm so happy they did.
It was 10:53 a.m. 12/21/21. I always remember it.
Where were you?
There you go.
I was working at Domino's, not doing my job, because I knew they were talking about it, and I was like,
"Where were you when Winston came back?"
When Winston came, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have to frame it too, Seth. We'll all get it framed, and that'll be on our backgrounds.
There you go.
You're gonna have way more.
I'll put it on the door over there
to frame it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you could put it like right there, Chase, right next to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just stick it right here in this little slot with this styrofoam.
Yeah, exactly. Get some curtains printed up like it.
Well, hell, we just get an NFT now. We'll just get an NFT of it.
You think
Which I'll
Bob
Stern
will be
just
okay
put it on
with
the
that?
blockchain.
No, when they went out to test the 670 with the 6-inch blade, I happened to be watching the test at that moment, but I didn't know that's what it was. And then I went on there was a Reddit thread for it, and everybody was like, yeah, it's 670, 676. I'm like, oh shit, let's go. And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, yep, that is definitely 670.
Freaked out. They put the 4-inch blade. I'm like, they're testing a small blade. They're freaking the fuck out.
I don't remember. I think you texted me and you're like, dude, are they running what I think they're running? I'm like, yeah, they're running what you think they're running.
Yeah. Now you guys, when we talked to you guys at Bristol, you said your goal was to make it to every race this coming year. You guys making it to every race this year?
Shit, just about. I mean,
Just about.
we're not going to be at every race right now. The schedule that we have lined out is covering 23 races. So
Hey.
we'll leave the exact races. We'll wait for that announcement, but yeah, we're trying to get to at least 23 this year.
All right. How are you guys making that happen?
I would never rule it out, but I know we did say over and over again, like, we want to be at every fucking race next year. And then we sat down and, like, logistically we were like, you know what? I don't know if we can actually do that or not.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody steps in and, like, will pay for us to be at, like, every race, like,
then yeah, we
race.
would do it.
All right, Bezos, if you're watching, these guys need a sponsorship.
We need Jeff. Where's he at? Not Gordon.
Jeffrey
We need Bezos.
I think
Dude, I'll go buy a piss jug for that dude. I don't care. I'll work hard. I'll work hard, man.
Let's hell,
races, Jeff.
Talk about
space after.
Talk about Hooters. Let's talk about wings.
Can't say that. Can't say that. Come on, man.
Damn it, buddy.
That's all right. Seth will bleep it out. It'll be great.
Buddy's favorite thing to do is add more work for me.
Yeah. I always throw something in there where Seth has to bleep it out.
All these buddies
with
do.
You, Seth, man. We're editor strong.
Yeah.
I'm in this box. I don't know what box you're in.
I'm in the top right. You're in the bottom left. But actually, go to your top right, and then I'll go to my bottom left.
Top right.
Yeah.
Where am I? Where do I need to go? Because I'm top right.
You're literally to my
left.
Immediate left on the screen.
I'm in a spaceship.
We're everywhere.
I don't know. We high-fived, I think. You're going the other route. Yep.
We did. But let's definitely do that. I'm here. I'm actually starving. I would love some wings right now.
Yeah. So, like, how did that come about, Hooters and you guys?
That's a fun one. We obviously we're in Daytona for, like, me and Dale knew each other for 2 days. And we pull up at the Hooters in Daytona, and we just kind of hanging out there and chilling, whatever. And they have all these events and stuff that happen outside. So we were wanting to just kind of be involved and just kind of make a scene. So it was a Saturday Xfinity race, and the car was out there and everything. And we had one of Dale's friends actually that was doing some camera work for us. And we were just all kind of huddled up talking. And I'm like, Dale, you should just go get in front of the car and just give your picks and just let her film it. And people are just going to be, they're going to be there. They're going to be like, oh, this is supposed to be happening. And so that's exactly what happened. And it got noticed by Hooters. And from there, we just kind of had some talks over time, and a couple words were shared, and then waited for a few months. And then I'm in the shower around Nashville. My wife had a hotel that she got her. My son came up, and I'm in the shower, and my wife comes in there, and she's like, hey, there's a girl on the phone from Hooters. And I just darted. I almost fell and busted my head on the tile, and literally got on the phone, chatted, and next thing you know, we worked something out, and we had a deal with Hooters. It was really, I don't think there's any more there to it. It's just, it happened so quick, but it was so spread out, I guess. It was weird. People talk about it all the time, though. I mean, I love working with them. They're great. And obviously it's great food, and it's just good people in general. So great management team, getting to knowing that, I mean, they literally sponsored Chase Elliott, the most, I guess, biggest face in NASCAR fan base. I mean, my dad's a fan of Chase Elliott. There's a lot of Chase Elliott fans out there. So it's cool, man. I mean, I don't think we could have been paired up with a better, restaurant when it comes to being with NASCAR. So
Definitely fits. What I'm hearing is if you act like you're supposed to be there, then no one will bother you, right?
I mean, you can do that in all aspects of life.
Exactly.
Anything, literally anything, it works.
Act as if. I mean, I heard it a long time ago, and I was, you selling cars and shit. So
I snuck into the garage at Indianapolis one year at the GP because I acted like I was supposed to be there.
Just confidence, man.
Yeah,
like, it works. I mean, more people need to know that, I guess. I mean, it's just people don't think that they can accomplish anything. Like I firmly believe, like in my heart, like I don't believe anybody's special. I just think it's all about your ability to adapt to a situation. Like that's really it.
So how long until you guys are in the commercial with Chase?
Oh man.
That's something I'd love to do.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to pitch that, but Chase is a hard man to get. Man, he's a hard man to get in touch with and get in communication with. So
he's a hard man to stick a car in front of and get him to autograph it too.
Yeah, man.
There you go. I got you.
Maybe one day we'll have him on Garage Talk or something. Who knows?
You know who's probably not going to be that difficult. We just haven't really reached out. Subway. Guys, if you guys are watching, we'll do this little sandwich and wing rivalry we've been trying to pitch for a while.
Maybe take the hat off before you pitch that.
We'll get Harvick on here. And it'll be great.
Dude, I can't lie. I obviously love Hooters. I don't really like Subway very much, but I love Kevin Harvick. I love Kevin Harvick, man. Like I always
knew you're my favorite. No.
Harvick is one of the OGs, man. He's been my dad's favorite for a while now. So I love Harvick, regardless of all the beef between him and Elliott. I stand with both.
Race.
I stand with both. That's the kind of stuff we need right there. More beef between guys like that. That was a huge storyline throughout the second half of the season. So
I was ready to rip somebody's damn head off. Yeah. We were all there.
Yeah.
Love that. Dude, yeah, that was electric.
You talk about the energy, like, oh my God. Like that was the loudest I've ever heard it. No, that's a lie. I've been at races where juniors.
See, I couldn't really hear much of like the crowd. Like when we were down, Dale was you were up in the stands when that went down, I think. And I had went down early because like I wanted to just get a good video, and I wanted to be able to like as soon as they win. I had a great card that night for Cup, and like we ended up.
Yeah, he did, Seth.
We cashed. Yeah, you remember I told you I was like,
I know.
Kyle Larson. That's like literally like it was just no brainer. But I had Elliott and Harvick too, and so like I was just all there, like just like oh my God, like one of these guys can get. So I wasn't really sweating too much, and when we got down there in the middle, like I didn't even realize it was happening, but Moonhead was down there with me, and I just heard him do his famous just like he starts screaming it, and I look up, dude, and I see where like Harvick's pulling behind Elliott, and I turn my head and I'm looking, and there's the cars, and people are running, like all the media, the cameras, they're just sprinting, dude. Like no regard for human life, would have murdered you and ran over your face if like that you were in the way. So we get there, dude. And it's just like this huge huddle is around. So like, obviously I'm like jumping over the wall. I'm like, I want to see this up close and personal, like, but
you're supposed to be there.
Yeah. I like tuned out everything else, but I can only imagine how the stands were when that was going on. Like
it was so loud. Like Buddy was saying, it was electric. Like the energy and just like the roar of thunder that happened whenever, as soon as they both got out and like connected, the crowd was insane. It was a really, really cool moment for me. I stayed in the stands because I was sweating regarding betting because I only had Larson. I didn't have Harvick or Elliott. I had Larson and I had like Hamlin and Blaney, and Hamlin had led a lot of laps and ragged. Blaney didn't do anything that race. So I was like,
fourth, I think.
Yeah, he just wasn't he wasn't a big
up there.
Yeah, he just wasn't up there. Like it wasn't a contender race.
He wasn't up there.
But
he was already locked in.
Yeah, I was sweating. So I was like, Chase, like, let's go down there. I was like, dude, no. I'm fucking watching the race. I was like, I'm finished. I'm staying in the stands to watch this fucking race. We did it last night. We did it the night before, which I had picked Chandler Smith to win the truck race, and I picked AJ.
Look at your mom
and Cindric to win the Xfinity race. So that was fucking awesome. I was like, I'm watching this from the stands, just like we did the other 2 nights.
Yeah, I spiked an A shock after the race. I was not happy. Just,
my Lord,
we'll leave it at that.
I feel you, man.
Yeah. Chase, last thing before we go, who was your favorite driver growing up? I think I know the answer, but I just want.
I mean, dude, I hate being so just like cliche with it, but I mean, I teetered between Gordon and Earnhardt, but I mean, I think for me, like, I didn't become an Earnhardt fan the normal way that most people became an Earnhardt fan. I was watching a very inappropriate movie that I should not have watched, probably at 5 or 6 years old, called Basketball. And there's a scene from that movie where Dale Earnhardt is driving a taxi cab with the kids, and he runs over a raccoon, and he has like a parachute to like stop his car. And I just was like, that guy is fucking cool. Like, I like him. I was like, that's who I want to be a fan of right there.
I bet you guys have seen that clip before. You may not have seen the movie, but look up Dale Earnhardt Basketball.
That's probably what. Yeah. As soon as we get off of here, it's what I'm
classic clip.
That's his only cameo in any movie ever, I think.
Have you ever been to RCR? Either of you guys?
We had Reddick on, actually.
Oh yeah.
We just had Reddick. We met Austin at Bristol for the first time and shook hands.
Have you guys like been to RCR, like to the museum?
No, I've never been like to the museum. Like,
you should go. You can see all the shit Earnhardt killed over there. They got a whole room full of all the shit he shot and all the stuff when him and Richard went hunting. It's wild,
awesome.
Man. Yeah, it's like basketball, but like in a room.
But
I'm sure that raccoon's in there.
I don't know about that. Trey Parker, Matt Stone. I don't know. I don't know if they would be correlated, but that would be
no, probably not. But I bet that raccoon's in there.
Yeah, man. God, I hope so. God, I hope so. I would love to go to the taxidermy and find that guy. Like, this is the raccoon that Dale hit, man. This is my house.
You know, that's some dude down in, some little hole in Alabama. He's got that thing on a pedestal in his living room. That's that raccoon that Dale killed.
Dude, I'm pissed,
Yeah,
bro. Literally, I feel like if
possession.
I had that, I would have to like find a way to purchase his Daytona 500 trophy, like have the raccoon sit by it.
Yeah, I mean, only fitting.
You don't want to. There's a fine line between like disgracing the name and then at the same time, it's just like making a personal shrine of Dale.
You can't disgrace the name more than Jeffrey has already. So,
that's I love Jeffrey, man. He's a great guy.
Fuck that.
He's got beef with Jeffrey that we're not going to get into because he'll go on for an hour.
We'll talk about that one off the record for sure. But I'll say this much: like, so obviously it was those two guys, but if I had to like say like what my favorite I guess like car was or like personality, for some weird reason now, like I remember when I was really little, I loved the Valvoline car. I loved the colors on the Valvoline car. So I was more of the fan of the cars when I was a kid. So if I had to pick a favorite car from when I was a kid, it was Mark Martin in that Valvoline with that red and that blue, and it was like the airbrush style paint all swirled up, and it was sick. I loved it.
Awesome. Well, Seth unfortunately has to get to work, so we gotta wrap this up. But it's been awesome talking to you guys. I can't wait to see you guys at some races this year. We'll for sure have to link up and do a little thing there too. Dale, I'll say hey to Junior for you at the induction. I'll be crying sitting out. I know you'll be you'll feel me.
Yeah, I'll be watching on TV whenever it airs, man. I'm nervous.
Yeah, it'll be enjoy
it though. That's awesome.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a hell of a conversation. Hopefully we'll do it again soon for sure. We'll actually see some next gen cars on track and we'll talk about it. And then, obviously we'll see you guys at some races. Seth, anything you want to add?
We just appreciate you guys coming on and can't wait to hang out with you at the track some.
Hell yeah. I want to say that I appreciate you guys, all the things that y'all are doing. the camaraderie we have at the tracks, and obviously see what you're wearing down there, buddy. Thanks for supporting the brand, dude. And we appreciate you guys. Always have a good time with y'all.
Yeah, guys, keep up the grind. Whatever you're doing, have fun with it. And it's going to be fun at the races for sure. It's going to be an exciting 2022. So we can't wait to see you guys at races as well. We got to do another shotgun ups. Are going to become a bigger deal.
Maybe one of these days I'll figure out the push thumb thing you got going.
Oh yeah. Hey,
you explained it. I just I haven't got it yet.
It's hard, man. It's hard. I
haven't even tried.
I shit my pants the first time I saw it. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's insane.
Hey, that's the goal for 2022. We're gonna learn the thumb trick.
The
beer thumb trick.
I'm gonna find a buddy on the safari. Yeah, you guys gotta come on the Buddy Pulley Safari sometime.
I want to do that.
We're excited for that. Yeah,
I love that idea. But we literally have to get Steve Irwin up. Like that's the only way.
Oh, 100%.
I want to get a hat. I want khaki shorts that are way too short, and I want to just be in the pits.
I got the Tiger shorts and the hat. Yeah, we're ready. We got this. Always retro drip though.
Yeah, we'll just put a jacket on.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing else. Yeah, with the shorts.
Thank y'all so much, dude. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on, and follow the Garage Guys. Everything they're doing, it's great. So thank you guys, and that's it.
That's it.